This is my command, to love one another. No greater love has been shown than one who is willing to lay down his life for his friends. That's John 15:12-13. There's so many videos running around on social media of dogs and even cats and just so many beloved animals willing to put themselves in harm's way to protect their owners or to protect their friends. I've seen a cat that went out and chased off two wolves to protect her puppy housemate. And it's adorable. It's like they don't think about themselves in any particular moment. Fear does not hold them back. And it's amazing how different they are. They're the antithesis of most human beings. We live in a world that is just full of this selfie culture where the self is always put first and foremost. It's the most important thing. Even in Christian circles, even in religious circles, people promote themselves. And it's so refreshing to see so much of God's creation reflect what He intended us to reflect in all of the law and commandments summed up, to love one another, to love each other as yourselves. You can only do that by loving God first. A lot of times, like the picture behind me, we'll think much bigger of ourselves than we actually are. I don't think any cat is ever looking into a mirror and seeing a lion, but that's what we do. We project greatness, and we want everyone else to see that. Social media, it's hard for me to look at sometimes because I just see so many people just loving themselves, showing everybody else how much they love themselves, and it promotes probably a lot of self-hate in other people because regardless of the fact that some people are more photogenic than others, some people have more than others, some people are gifted in other areas, and when we're promoting those things, it can create feelings of less than in others. So we're not thinking about them. We're only thinking about ourselves. There's times when it's good to, post stuff to encourage and obviously scripture and anything that glorifies God. But anything that brings attention to ourselves is really just all about loving yourself and the validation you get from people's attention and likes and stuff like that. And that's why social media can be so dangerous. And that's why we do have to try to use it to plant seeds of good as well. As Philippians 2:3 says, do nothing from selfish ambition or empty conceit, but with humility of mind, regard one another as more important than yourselves. That's what animals do. And animals have no sense of self. I love watching them look at themselves in the mirror, even though some of these videos, who knows if they're real, but some animals love looking at themselves. I've seen one with like a parrot. But on majority, they have no sense of self. They are the epitome of selfless. God gives us reminders of what He intended for us before we took a bite out of that proverbial apple and sin entered into the world, giving us the knowledge of good and evil that allows us to put ourselves first, our own wants and desires, ahead of others. And that keeps us from walking in harmony with God and others around us because we're not abiding by His law, which says to love others before ourselves. Sometimes that means sharing harsh truths that people don't want to hear, but because it's what God said and what God commands us to do. When we're walking in obedience, we are walking in love and not in love of the self. So I pray we all be more like animals today and that we all think a little bit less of ourselves and more of others as Jesus commanded us to. God bless you. See you tomorrow.